it's Light here, and welcome to the final day of Trick or Miss versus the OU tier. Cannot wait to get into it. Overall, the team at the moment has performed really well. Even if we have a bad day today, it should still be ahead of win to loss ratio, which is fantastic. And if you like Pokemon content in general, please consider subscribing. We're almost at 50 subs. Really appreciate if we could get there. And without further ado, let's show the battles. So here's our first battle matchup right here, with a very scary matchup, being with the Hisuian Samurai, the Goldango, the Iron Treads, mega threats, and start to look considerably as well. The Iron Crown's also a massive threat to this team. So we lead off with Echo, predicting the Hisuian Samurai, but they do lead with Goldango, which is very scary. So I'm thinking of who to really go into, because they can just click Shadow Ball. So just choose to stay in, just get a Shadow Sneak off to see what move they'll lock themselves into. And they switch into Moltres. Luckily, we do not get the Flame Body block. We go into Coco, predicting the Flamethrower. Go for the Will-O-Wisp, predicting the switch out into the Hisuian Samurai, which worked absolutely perfectly. So we're pretty in an okay position now. So we just end up going into Poppy to take the Seaforth Edge really well. And then we can just go for Strength Sap. And then after this, we can just go for a nice defog, as they will just go for a Seaforth Edge yet again. At this point, I think I should have hexed here instead of going for Strength Sap, just get some damage off. But they do switch into the Ogerpon, which is very scary because of the Divine boost. We do get to full recovery. I was thinking in my head, what can they really go for? And then I completely forgot about the knockoff, which is unfortunate. I don't know really who we could have went into on that. So unfortunately we lost Poppy dead early on there, which is quite a shame because it really does counter the Hisuian Samurai quite well. So we end up just going into Echo, missing our Play Rough, which doesn't matter in this case because I'd rather miss the Play Rough and not risk the burn on our Echo. So we start going into Wandle, predicting the Flamethrower, try to get some momentum as they go for the Will-O-Wisp, which is unfortunate because we can really hit hard now with Hex and not with Dragon Darts. So we're in a very bad position here. So we end up just going for the Dragon Darts, and they revealed to be Choice Scarf, which is very scary. So we just go into Echo here, go for the Shadow Sneak. In fact, I try to think they go double out into Moltres, so I predict that, go into Coco, go for a nice Talk Song, because we are 2 Pokemon behind. We need to start predicting quite a bit, as they will now just go into the Hisuian Samurai, which is quite scary. We end up staying in, going for the Hex. Was very surprised how high damage this Seaforth even did. Realistically, I should have went for Slack Off there. And I think this is one of the biggest misplays of the match by telling fairly, because we've got three steel types. So Coco can't really do much. It just invites, again, Make It Rain, and now they got triple stacks again. Unfortunate that we had to let Poppy go there. I realistically should have just switched out maybe into Echo against the Ogerpon. But yeah, really unfortunate. Or even then, just go for the Hex so you can be able to take the knockoff. We can go for the Strength Sap then, and then we can go for the Will-O-Wisp after, because after the knockoff is gone, we don't need to worry about it too much. Really big misplay. But they do switch into Iron Treads here, so I'm just thinking of who can we really go into. I was debating Peach in case it's a physical set with Earthquake, so that's what we go into, which is another misplay because most Iron Treads are actually special attackers. So I end up having to let Peach go, unfortunately, because with the Hensley hazards as well as becoming very overwhelming. We should have just went into Echo in the first place. Let the Disguise break, then we could just go for the Drain Punch and get the KO, which we do end up doing. But we are so far behind now, and here is where the Iron Crown comes in. I should have just clicked Shadow Sneak here as well. Completely forget about Tachyon Guzzet always hitting twice. And if we hit Shadow Sneak right there earlier, I think we would have KO'd the Iron Crown, but don't think it mattered in the long run because we tailed fair lead, which is unfortunate. Again, I should have went for Slack Off then, and then we could have just kept going for Hex after that, or wait for them to miss a Super Attack to give us a perfect opportunity. Again, also should have just went for Hex when they went into Ogerpon instead of trying to heal up Poppy up again. So yeah, really unfortunate for the most part. Or I should have predicted a switch out even as well. So here's our next matchup right here. Very scary again, mainly because of the Greninja. And Heatran's a very hard mon to break for this team. So we end up with Randall here, and I think I make a first mistake here going for Hex. Instead of just going for U-turn straight away, because normally if it's a Heatran lead, they're expecting the Stealth Rocks, and Echo's one of our main ways to really try to get rid of Heatran. So now we do go for U-turn, but now they do have a chance to break out the skies, and it just doesn't look too good. It's not too good of a start, unfortunately. Again, another big misplay I made there. So we do end up just going into Echo, and they reveal Will-Wisp, so we have to Swords Dance here to try to get some momentum back. We're already a bit down, and if Echo goes, we don't really have a nice clear way to get rid of the Heatran, and they reveal Air Power. So the last move is probably Flash Cannon, probably Magma Storm. So they do end up going for Corviknight, either predicting Drain Punch or the Shadow Sneak, and Echo takes a lot of damage right there, which is unfortunate. So we do end up just going into Poppy. The reason being because I know Poppy can take any hits from the Corviknight. But they predict our switch out, unfortunately, and they go into the massive threat, which is Greninja. So at this point, I'm thinking to let Echo go, just because unfortunately Echo is bent and stuff like that, and then we can go into Randall, force the switch out, as long as it's not too Scarf, and we can just go for the U-turn, hope to get some mass damage off, as they will just go back into Heatran, which is very unfortunate. And then we end up going into Bling here, which again I think it's another massive misplay for towing here and going for Focus Blast and letting Bling take this much damage. I should at least done the calc, see how much damage if it would KO Heatran with that range. Because if it KO'd it, I think it was a really good play. And then we have Greninja with a bit of pressure on, and later on with Bling as well. If they go for Dark Pulse, we can switch into Bling. We can just keep going for Shadow Balls. But now that Bling's so low, we can't really switch into the Greninja's Dark Pulse anymore. So it really, now Greninja is super massive threat, and every time the Greninja comes in, if we're not faster than it, we're gonna have to let a member go down. So a massive misplay on my part, and it's Bling's first focus miss. But honestly, I'm not too mad with that, because Bling's hit all the Focus Blasts when it's been necessary. I was expecting it at some point. I'm honestly surprised how least amount we got it, compared to Randall missing Will-Wisp. So we end up just going for Strength Sap here. On the Garchomp, very scary mon. Can easily sweep our team from here. So very scary. We end up going for Strength Sap, and then we can now just go for the Will-Wisp, just hoping that we should be able to take one type of Scale Shot, because normally the set is Swords Dance. Oh, they end up just going for Swords Dance again, which I think was a bit mistake on the opponent's part. And now we can just go for Hex. They do go for the Swords Dance again, so they really are opting to sweep. So we can just keep going for Strength Saps now. But I am very scared of a critical hit here. So we end up just going for Strength Sap, get right back to full. And I believe I just go for Hex right here, or that's the next turn. Which, by the way, again, I think was a misplay. We could have just kept Strength Sapping. I know we would risk the crit, but we also are lowering his attack slowly but surely. So yeah, unfortunately we do decide to go for the Hex this turn. Again, was really scared about any critical hits. And then we do end up just going for the Hex. But now again, Poppy is so low, and Poppy could have still been great for the Corv Knight for getting rid of the Stealth Rocks. But unfortunately, we gotta let Poppy go down so we can go into Vandal. We can just go for the nice U-turn again. Either go into Heatran or Corv Knight. We got some switch outs into them. So you end up going into Corv Knight here, and I believe we just go straight into Coco. If I remember correctly, yes, we do just go straight into Coco, which is fantastic. We can just start going for Hex, predicting that Heatran switch. Because this most likely is Flash Fire, and that's what I mean. Heatran's such a hard mon for this team, as they do just end up going to Greninja. And this is what I was talking about before. Now Blings is a bit too low, but we gotta let Bling go down here. In hindsight, we could have let Peach go down there, which I think would have been a better play there too. So we end up predicting the switch out this time, just going for the Will-O-Wisp, knowing that they don't really want to bring in Heatran in now. So we end up getting the Hex off, which does a lot of damage to the Corv Knight. So the Corv Knight's nice and low, and the Heatran is, but again, it's the Greninja combination with the Weatherbeam late game as well. And we don't know what set the Iron Valiant is yet. So again, I think it was a big misplay, unfortunately, telling in to Bling right near I begin. I should have just done the calc. So that was my bad, and they do reveal to be the Sword Stance set, which really made me happy, because Peach can take any one hit. And they reveal they do have Shadow Core as well. We can just go for the Militia Chain, get the instant KO, again, which is fantastic. And they end up going into Greninja here, and I think we do switch out into Coco and let Coco go down here. Because looking at the rest of the team, it seems like Randall really does need to pick up some KOs. So we end up just going into Randall. And right here, I believe I make a misplay again. Yeah, I go for the Dragon Dart. I should have really just went for the U-turn, so Peach can get back to full health. But then again, no, because then they can just go back into Gwen and then Dark Pulse again. Again, really should have saved that Terra for the Gwen instead of using it on the Heatran. Really big mistake on my part. I know I keep repeating that, but it just sucks looking at the playback. It's like, So they now go into Weatherboom, and I thought, okay, we can just go to Pika to go to Grass Glide, but no, they do have the knockoff. I was like, okay, Rando's not going one shot, so we gotta hope that the Will-O-Wisp does something, but we get the Will-O-Miss on Rando, unfortunately. Very close game. Again, massive misplay. And here's the next matchup here. And we decided to lead off with Bling because I had particularly King Gambit, and then we can focus past the Galillian Slowking. They were the main two I was expecting. I was not expecting the Infernape. Massive threats, definitely the King Gambit right there, and definitely the Iron Valiant, depending on what set it is, because if it is the if it is the Shadow Ball set, we are in a bit of trouble. And I think I do make a misplay right out the bat here, just staying into Bling. But I was thinking that they might go for the Stealth Rocks, that's why they led with Infernape. But fortunately, we do not have Bling for the rest of the match. We can just go into Randall now. Knowing that Randall's faster, we can just go for a nice Dragon Dart. Even if they do switch out, it's not too bad. They do let the Infernape go down. And then they bring out Iron Valiant, and I'm a bit worried because we don't see the booster energy. So it starts to make me think that it's Choice Bex or Choice Band. So we go into Coco to scout, and they do just go for the Moonblast. So by the looks of it, they do not have the Shadow Ball. So we just end up going for the Will-O-Wisp and predicting the switch out. Thinking that is Choice Bex. Because getting a Bane of any of these mons is fantastic. They do end up going into the Slowking, which is perfectly fine because we can now just go for the Hex, I believe, or do we go for the Talk Song? We do just go straight for the Hex, and really whittle the Galillian Slowking right down. Then we can just go for the Talk Song. Barely miss out on the KO. Should have just went for Hex right there. Honestly, don't know why I didn't really. and then they will just go into Ogerpon. At this point, I'm thinking to switch out into Randall just to take the Ivy Cudgel, just because we resist both the moves. And that's why, because of the focus sight for earlier, that's why we didn't go straight into Peak. So now we can just go for the Minic Chain, do some very, very high damage on the Ogerpon. Just hope that they don't tell water. They do end up going for the Sword Dance. They don't tell water, and we do get the Badly Poison, which is fantastic. So at this point, I'm thinking about telling at this point, but I'm not too sure. Oh, just making sure. So we just end up just going for the recover instead. And the reason for this is because they cannot one-hit KO us unless we get unlucky with the crit. And luckily they do not, and the poison takes the Ogerpon out. We're in a really, really good spot at the moment. Nice 2v2, but again, we still have Echo for the King Gambit if that comes in. We still got Peak for the Dragonite. And we still have Coco for the Iron Valiant. So they do end up going for King Gambit, so we just go for Parting Shot straight into Echo, as they will go for Sword Stance. We will go for Drain Punch here. We don't tell her because we still have our Disguise on, which honestly we should have just done anyway, because we are going to tell her next turn, expecting the Sucker Punch. So realistically, I should just tell her there. It would mean that Echo would take less damage overall, because we still take 65% from the King Gambit, and the King Gambit goes straight down, which is fantastic. They end up just going to Iron Valiant here, and I'm just thinking, okay, at this point we can let Echo go down, see what move they want to lock themselves into, and they do go for the Side Shock. So we go into Poppy, because Poppy is a nice physical defensive wall. We can try get the Dragonite out on the switch, but they do just go into the Slowking. So we just decide to just go straight for the Hex, hoping to get the Oko on the Slowking, which does end up happening. Again, we should have got that Oko a lot earlier. Now they will go into Dragonite, so now we can just go for Will-Wisp. We should be able to take a nice Ice Spinner all day long. Again, really, really happy that Poppy's in the team, but they do end up doubling, feeling the Will-Wisp. They do go into Iron Val. And at this point, I just go to Coco to see what moves they really want to lock themselves into. They do opt to go for the Thunderbolt. Again, because Coco can take special moves for days as long as it's not the Shadow Ball, which we're very lucky that it wasn't, because if it was Shadow Ball, I don't think we'll be in a great position right now. And they reveal Stone Egg, which is very interesting, so it makes me think more maybe Chris Panzer, maybe. Just did not expect the Stone Egg. We could just switch out to Peak now, and the reason why Peak is so good here, because they can't switch out. If they go, because if we go for Hex on the switch out into the Iron Vine that's already banned, that's going to get the Oko, and they do end up 4% right there. Nice game, played well, really well so far, and here's our next matchup again with Iron Crown being a massive threat. The combination of Pelipper and Barraskewda is very scary, but we do have Terra Peak for that. The scariest one when I was looking at the team preview was the Moltres. Because if that's a Chloe Specs Hurricane Moltres, our team does not look good into that at all. So they end up leading with Iron Clan. I predicted the Pelipper just get some nice Shadow Balls off, because I noticed during the team preview that they don't really have a great friction into Ghost type moves. So we end up just going for the Shadow Ball. Does a nice chunk of damage, as they do just go for the Pulse Switch. And I wish I didn't make this play looking back at it, because we need bring up a lot of health for the Moltres if it is the Chloe Specs. So they do end up just going to Pelipper. We can just go for Shadow Ball again, do another 50% and they do just decide to go for the U-turn into Barraskewda. Again, massive scary threat. So we do just end up just going into Peak here, and we can take the liquidation. And at this point we can just telewater and just go for the cover, but they predict that and just go into Moltres. Really made me hope that we went for the Manila Chain. Even just getting the Toxic off, and I think I make a massive miss by here, just going to Coco. Because it's a nice 2-shot, so it is definitely actually Specs Moltres, which is terrifying. So unfortunately, Coco goes down. We can now just go into Bling. Again, nicely switching. We can really threat him on with Shadow Ball. They threaten our mons with Moltres. We can threaten their mons with Bling with the Shadow Ball. They end up just going for the Great Tusk. Can take one hit, but they do reveal to be leftovers, so they can definitely take another one, which is quite scary. So we just end up going straight into Poppy to take either the Earthquakes or the Ice Spinners that might come. But they do just end up going for the Stealth Fox. We can now just go for the Will-O-Wisp. So Great Tusk is not such a massive threat anymore. Then we can just go for the Defog again, as they will bring in Pelipper. And I believe we do switch here. I think we switch into Randall if I remember correctly, yeah. Which I think is a bit of a misplay. We should just stay with Poppy on that situation. And then they bring out the Moltres again, which is very, very scary. And I'm just thinking of what we can really do. Do we have to let another one go down? But realistically, we should just went straight into Bling. Bling can at least take one. But we decided to let Poppy go down, which I think was a big mistake looking back at it. We should have just went into Bling. Then we can just go for the Shadow Ball. And then another Shadow Ball will take the Great Tusk out, which is fantastic. So even though we are a bit behind, we still have the big threat being Bling against this matchup. But they do also have the Bella Scooter. So we just instantly go into Peach and they predict that and go for the flip turn back into Moltres. And again, I think I make another misplay here as well, because we just go into Echo. I don't know why did they not just go for Bling, take the hit. We can then go for the Shadow Ball because Echo's disguise is so important. So we just end up having to go for Shadow Sneak here. At least the Wayne is now gone. We can just go back into Bling, go for a nice another Shadow Ball. They have to either sack a mon at this point. So it's just up to them which mon to sack. So Bling is bringing such immense pressure against the opponent. So they do let the Pelipper go down here. And then go back into Bella Scooter. So at this point I'm thinking, okay, they might flip turn again. So we can just go into Randall. And they do end up flip turning. And then they go into Iron Crown. Again, very, very scary. And I think do make another misplay here, unfortunately. We go for the Hex, hoping it gets KO. Oh no, it doesn't. And then it does survive on 5%, unfortunately. But now they can just go back into Bella Scooter. The Peach is very, very predictable to lead, but we have to. And I think this is the biggest misplay here. I think we let Randall go down, which is a massive, massive misplay. I think Randall is a lot more important than Peach in that scenario. Just because the only physical threat left is a Bella Scooter, but there's still only 2 turns away. I don't think it really mattered in the long run, just because how big a threat the Moltres was, and they do predict the Malignant Chain, and they do just go into Goldango and then reveal Thunder Wave, and we unfortunately get fully powered. They do end up going for the Hex. We go for our own Hex. We should have really tried to predict that and maybe try to go for Bling. Again, I think the issue is with this game, I played it way too safe. Because now they can just go into Bella Scooter. They do tell War to go for the Aqua Jet. We barely miss out on the KO on the Bella Scooter. But again, I don't think that would have mattered either way, just because the Moltres would at least take one Shadow Ball. So yeah, I think I played it too safe that game. I should have made a bit more risky plays with Bling to try to really pin against that Moltres. So that was very much my bad. And then again, we got another massive threat here, being the Holy Moon, the Assyrian Samurai, and the Iron Crown. Is all massive threats. We do lead off of Echo, predicting the Assyrian Samurai or the Rolling Moon, and the Rolling Moon does come. So they either want to switch out right now, and we notice there's no boost to energy, so it could be the Choice Band set. So very scary. So I believe here I just go straight for the Play Rough, and unfortunately Echo misses again. As he will just go into Galarian Weezing, we can just go straight into Bling. No reason not to. And then we can just go for the Make It Rain, because I'm really worried that they go switch into the Rolling Moon. Do not want to give that Rolling Moon a safe switch in. or the Assuming Samurai, and we could have just went for the Focus Blast there. I think we should have, honestly. In hindsight, it was a pretty easy switch that they could have done. I was just feeling the Flamethrower on the Galarian Weezing. But yeah, I should have really just Focus Blast there. Again, I've just made so many misplays today. So we end up just going to Poppy to take some Secret Edges. To take 2 Secret Edges, and we do go for Strength Step in case they do miss the Secret Edge. There is a chance for it to miss, but getting some nice aftermath damage off on the Assuming Samurai is crucial. Even if the spikes do stay up, they do end up switching out into the Galarian Weezing. And we just end up just going straight for the default because I don't really know what move they can go for. They do end up just going for the Toxic here. So we just counter back with Will-Wisp, because in case they do switch out, and they do go to Assuming Samurai. But unfortunately, we do miss our Will-Wisp. And they unfortunately do get the KO on Poppy. But now we can just go into Randall here, and we just decide to go for Dragon Dart. Again, I think it's another misplay on my part, because it's an easy Galarian Weezing switch in, but they didn't really know what set we were just yet. So we do end up getting the KO, and would have been safer just U-turn in there, in hindsight. But at least one of the mega threats is gone. So pumped about that, so happy at the time. Just getting that with that Assuming Samurai. They do end up going back into Weezing, and then they do just go for the Pain Split. So at this point it makes me think that they don't really have Shadow Ball. Flamethrower, so we just go for the Shadow Ball. Again, this time we should have just went for Make It Rain. No reason not to. I think I was feeling the Iron Crown. But again, should have also predicted the switch into the Warrior Moon. But I wasn't too worried about the Warrior Moon because we still have our Disguise with Echo. So even if they do some nice damage to us, we still got some nice we still got a nice safe for switching. So they do end up just going for the knockoff, and then we can just go for the Play Wolf here. They have to tell if they want to save this mono or switch out. They do decide to switch out into the Weezing. Reveals to be Rocky Helmet. We can just go straight back into Bring. No reason not to. They do end up predicting also go for the Warrior Moon. So at this point we're just like, okay, we can take a knockoff. We need to go for the Focus Blast to get rid of this massive threat. And we land the Focus Blast. Super amazing. Get the KO on the other massive threat, Warrior Moon, but really worried about the Iron Boulder in the back, because if that boosts energy speed, it does outspeed our entire team. So we do end up just going to Echo here to scout what set it is, and it is the Shadow Ball set, so very scary. So at this point, I think the teller is quite clear as going to be Coco. Oh no, we already tell it. So we just go to Blink here because we didn't see the booster energy again. We can just go for the Make It Rain. They do predict the Make It Rain, and they do just go into Iron Crown. So we can just go into Coco here. Not really feeling anything too much. We can just go for the Will-Wisp here, predicting the switch out into the Iron Boulder. But no, they do just end up staying in. And this time we do end up going for Slack Off to get all that nice HP back. And I believe we just go for Slack Off again. Yep, to get all just the nice HP back. And I think this was a bit of a misplay. I should just went for Talk Song and just get that nice special attack boost. But they do end up going to Galarian Weezing. So if we went for Talk Song there, it would have given us a 1.5 boost, which would have been crucial against the Iron Boulder. So I'm thinking in my head, okay, we should be able to take one because it's booster speed. So we go for the Will-Wisp here, but they reveal the substitute. Then we go for the Talk Song, which I don't think was misplayed, but this was. I kept going for Talk Songs, hoping that we can do something. We are unaware, but at this point it could be over, and honestly we do take the hit. So the reason why Talk Songs was such a misplay, because we just went for the Hex once, broke the sub, we're still at 1.5, so Hex is still going to do a nice amount. And also, surprisingly, Peach takes the air flake. So I think that was a massive misplay on my part, and I generally think we could have won the game if we hexed instead of Talk Songing 3 to 4 times, because again, Coco would have took one Mighty Cleave, we would have got the Hex off, which would have done a ton of damage, and they revealed Terror Ground at the end. So really unfortunate for the most part. Again, made so many misplays. Again, it's just nice to recognize them and hope to learn from them, like with the Roaring Moon incident. Or speaking of Roaring Moons on this team, not to ever switch into Coco straight away. Try switching to another mon, such as Randall, maybe Bling, maybe just Echo. It's just nice to learn from that, and it just really gives you more ideas of what the team weaknesses are and how you can cover for that. But here's our next matchup anyway. Massive threats: Glasgow, Darkrai, Hooper Unbound, Mimikyu, and the Wallet. All the team is such a massive threat in this matchup. We went lead off with Poppy, predicting the Glasgow lead, but they do end up going as a Cinderace, so we go for Strength Up here. The reason why I go for Strength Up is to scout how much Power Ball is doing and lowering its attack slowly over time. So it does do around 67%, so very offensive. So we do get the Strength Up off here. And then we just go into Peach, knowing that Peach can take so many Fireballs. Unfortunately for the opponent, they do get the miss, so we're predicting the switch out right now. And predicting the Gliscor to really come in. And then, yep. So the Gliscor does come in, at this point we go back into Poppy, which I think was a mistake. I think we should have just went straight to Randall to try to get some pressure on the Gliscor, especially now it's low attack. The knockoffs are not going to knock Randall out. So we end up going for the Hex here, and they end up going for the Protect. So we go for the Hex again, hoping to wear this Gliscor down. But realistically, we should have just switched out, and they bring out Hooper Unbound. Such a massive threat to the team. And at this point, I'm just thinking, is it physical? Is it special? Who can realistically see go into? So again, we do end up going into Echo. Predict to scout what type of set the Hooper is, and it looks to be physical. It's like, okay, we can KO with it with a Play Rough if they stay in. Which of course they do not, which does make perfect sense. They do just end up going back into Glasgow. We do just decide to go back into Poppy. They revealed Toxic, unfortunately. And again, I should have honestly just went into Randall, because even Randall does get knocked off or poisoned, it's not such a big a deal. So that was really my bad right there. So they do end up just going for a knockoff again, and now they can just protect. And again, I should have just switched out here, because we could have just yes I do. So yeah, we end up just going to Randall now. We can just go for the Hex. But again, I should have tried to predict what the opponent was going to go for. So we could have just went for the U-turn here, which I do regret. Because now they know they're going for Hex. And now that they know we're going for Hex, they do go into Darkrai, and this is another massive misplay I make. I stay in with Randall, just for hindsight. That I should have guessed that was Choice Scarf, considering that they brought in Darkrai, because if it wasn't Choice Scarf, they would have just brought in Hooper Unbound. So yeah, it really sucks in hindsight that I should have really just switched out. Then they will now just go into Hooper, and I'm thinking, okay, we can go for Will-Wisp. Oh no, we do end up switching out into Poppy, which again I think was just a massive misplay. We still just went straight for the Will-Wisp, because knockoffs not go worry me too much. And it makes me think that this Hooper could be Choice Band, could be. So we end up going for Slack Off to C, and now they revealed the Side Shock, so it is a mix-up. which is very scary. We end up going in to bring as they go for Society Shock, and I'm thinking, okay, we can take a knockoff because it burns. We should be able to take one. We can go for the Make a Rain, and it should KO from this range. Leaves on 2, makes me think it's a Soul Fest, and they get the crit, unfortunately, on the knockoff. So we're already very, very, very down bad here. So we end up just going into Coco. The reason why I'm predicting the Glasgow, which in hindsight we should have just went into Peak. But yeah, the Glasgow does come in, and then we know that they have the Toxic, but unfortunately for them, they do miss. Then we get the special attack buff, and it's like, okay, Coco really needs to put in some work here. Thinking about going to Peak, and we do, because I do not want to get Toxic. And then we can now just go to Hex on Peak, which is very good for us. We can be able to take care of the Glasgow, because even though we're low on Mons at the moment, there still is a chance for this team, just because of the combination of Peak and Coco alone. Coco can sweep late game, so that's what I'm really thinking. So they knock off our leftovers as we do go for the Hex. Knowing that they go for the Protect, we go for the Hex again, and then we go for the Malignant Chain, predicting the Darkrai. They've went that aggressive play once, and I'm sure they're going to do that again. So I am predicting the Darkrai, hoping to get the Toxic off as well, knowing that it's not going to Oko, but still going to do quite a bit of damage. So, and that's what does end up happening. So we go into Darkrai, and I make a prediction here. I thought they would have went for the Sludge Bomb, predicting the Coco switching. Because if they did that as well, it would have been pretty much game over. So I made the risk, I made my judgment play right there, and unfortunately it didn't work out. Knowing that they're locked in, we can just start going for some Talk Songs. But now that the Glasgow can still get the Toxic off on us and on Echo as well, and that Powerball does so much damage, it makes me think that the Cinderace was choice banned just because how much damage the Powerball was doing. And we do unfortunately get KO'd right there. Echo can get one last KO with the Shadow Sneak, but at this point they can just bring in Glasgow and just start to really war us, especially the combination of Toxic and that. So unfortunately, at this point I know it's game over, but you never know. We could get a crit, we could get something, and I think my Swords and Snake was a bit of a misplay as well. I am predicting the Protect here, so we just end up going for Swords Dance yet again. And thinking, okay, they just go Protect, get some more Toxic damage off, but no, they predict our Swords Dance, they go for the Apex, they get the crit unfortunately, and the Toxic will take us out. Really tough games we had today. 5 losses, 1 win, so not a great day overall, but this team still has performed overall very well. We still have got a good win to loss ratio, so I'm not too worried. Just being a bad misplays, plus just so many threats on the opponent's end. And again, really is unfortunate that the last day wasn't nice and explosive for the team. But I think it really shows some of the weaknesses of the team. The team having more than one dog type really does slow the team momentum down. Not getting the right predictions again. I should have knew the Darkrai was Choice Scarf. We should have just switched into Echo in that scenario. But yeah, and because if they stayed in as well, it would have really confirmed the Choice Scarf. We still would have Randall, which can just one-shot the Hooper with a U-turn, and keeping that momentum. So yeah, very unfortunate, but it happens. And with all that said, I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll see you tomorrow on the performance video.